Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we've got a really compelling sack of sources, articles, reviews, all that good stuff. It's about a brand new Marvel event that's, well, already sparking some serious conversation.
Yeah, I've been seeing the buzz online.
Right. So our mission, like always, is to cut through the chatter, pull out those key nuggets of knowledge, and get you instantly up to speed.
Making sense of it all.
Exactly. We are diving headfirst into Marvel's new Bring on the Bad Guys event.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, we're starting with a big kickoff, Doom #1.
Mm-hmm.
And forget the usual hero focus here. This is all about getting inside the minds, the motivations of Marvel's most iconic villains.
A different perspective entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So, bring on the bad guys. First off, what's really interesting, I think, is that this isn't some totally brand new concept out of nowhere.
No, not at all.
It's a revival, right? A nod back to a vintage Marvel idea from, what was it, 1976?
That's the one, yeah, 1976. A real classic for collectors.
For people who remember that, or maybe have hunted down those back issues, it was such a unique approach, focusing on the antagonists.
It really was. Gave them the spotlight for a change.
In this new version, it's a 7-part miniseries. Each issue is meant to zoom in, really intensely on a different big-name villain.
A whole roster of them.
And kicking things off, who else? The man himself, Dr. Doom, in Doom #1. Seems fitting.
Oh, absolutely. If you're doing a villain spotlight, starting with Doom, it just makes sense. And bringing back that concept, it's smart. Because it really does shift the whole narrative viewpoint.
How so, exactly?
Well, usually we're grounded with the heroes, right? They're our way in. But a villain-centric event like this, it frees up the creators. They can explore much darker themes, really lean into moral ambiguity.
Get into the messy stuff.
Exactly. Delve into the internal conflicts of characters who are usually just, the obstacle of the week for the hero. It's a chance to see the Marvel Universe from the shadows.
And it's not just Dune, like you said. The full lineup they've announced for this series, it's pretty heavy hitting.
It really is. So after Doom, we're getting insights into Green Goblin, Abomination, Loki,
Of course, left.
Red Skull, Dormammu, and even Mephisto himself gets an issue later on.
Wow. That's a proper rogues gallery. Each one could carry their own series, practically.
Definitely sets expectations high for the whole event. What's fascinating here is this event really shifts the perspective.
Okay, so focusing back on this first issue, Bring on the Bad Guys. Doom #1. Let's get specific. The sources confirm it hit the shelves June 18, 2025. Cover date says August 2025. Standard stuff.
Right.
And the creative team, Mark Guggenheim writing, Stefano Raffaele on pencils and inks.
Guggenheim's known for some intricate plotting, so that's interesting, and Raphael's style. We'll probably get to that.
Yeah, definitely. Colors by Niraj Menon, crucial for atmosphere. And the cutter, Lee Bermeo.
Oh, Bermeo. Okay, that's top tier. His covers are always events in themselves.
For sure. You can feel the weight of expectation with a team like that on #1, especially with Doom.
Absolutely. No pressure.
Right. So let's peel back the cover. The plot of Doom #1. The real engine here, it seems, is this thing called the Soul Forge.
Ah, yes, the MacGuffin.
The central MacGuffin. And what jumped out at me from the reviews is this is not just some minor magic item.
No, the stakes are huge.
Its power is described as, well, immense, capable of collecting all the souls on Earth.
Let that sink in. All souls. That's not just world-ending, that's reality-altering, existential, like you said earlier.
Exactly. Here's where it gets really interesting.
And that scale is key, right? Because it immediately brings in the major players. We get introduced pretty quickly to this mysterious sorceress character, Sister Sorrow.
Sister Sorrow. Okay.
And her goal is apparently to get her hands on 6 specific daggers that are tied somehow to the Soul Forge.
Well, she's not the mastermind.
It doesn't seem like it. The sources make it clear pretty fast that she's working for someone else, someone much bigger.
Let me guess. Pointy ears, red suit.
You got it. None other than Mephisto, Marvel's premier demon lord. He's the one pulling the strings.
And he wants the Soul Forge, which, given his track record, that's bad. Very bad.
That's putting it mildly. The sources say he wants it for sinister ends, which for Mephisto could mean almost anything, but likely involves total infernal domination. It elevates the threat massively.
Okay, so Mephisto, Sister Sorrow, the Soul Forge. Enter Dr. Doom.
Naturally.
He's not going to sit by while some demon tries to collect every soul on the planet.
Right.
Especially not his planet.
Precisely. The reports say he immediately grasps how significant the Forge is. He understands the power involved.
And this pits him directly against Mephisto. Sources describe it as a tense rivalry.
Which is classic Marvel. Doom versus Mephisto. These are two titans of cosmic arrogance and power.
It sounds amazing on paper, but it's how Doom gets involved that's typically Doom's, right?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where Guggenheim seems to be really leveraging Doom's core character. What's fascinating here is he's definitely set on stopping Mephisto. No question.
Okay, so maybe a little bit heroic?
Well, not entirely altruistically, is how one review put it. His drive is apparently just as much about his own dominance, his prestige, as it is about preventing a demonic apocalypse.
Of course.
Yeah.
It has to be about him.
It's pure Victor Von Doom. He'll save the world, sure, but he has to be the one doing it. It has to reinforce his authority, his superiority.
So he can say, see, only Doom could defeat Mephisto.
Pretty much. And apparently his inability to trust anyone or even, cooperate effectively because of that ego that actually creates the opening Mephisto needs with this Soul Forge thing.
So his greatest strength, his massive self-belief, becomes his weakness here.
In a way, yeah. It's a central plot point, not just a character quirk. It drives the conflict.
So Doom's fighting the devil, but maybe his biggest fight is with his own ego. Are we supposed to root for him? Or just watch one bad guy try to outmaneuver an even bigger bad guy?
That's the crux of it. And that's what makes these villain-centric stories potentially so interesting. The comic apparently leans into it, showing how even facing ultimate evil, Doom can't help but posture and prioritize his own image.
Right.
It makes you, the reader, think. How does that massive ego shape this fight? What does it say about power and motivation when the protagonist is still fundamentally a tyrant? It's not about good versus evil, really. It's about hierarchy. Who's the top bad guy?
The hierarchy of evil. I like that. Okay, so the plot, the motivations, they're complex. How does it look? Let's talk visuals. Stefano Raffael's art.
Yeah, the reviews generally had good things to say here.
Critics praised the dramatic flair. His version of Doom's throne room in Latveria, for instance, was called grand and imposing.
Which is exactly what you want for Doom's HQ. It needs to reflect his power, his grandeur.
Definitely. And the art does more than just look cool.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the art itself tells a story. Raphael makes some really specific, intentional choices. Like Mephisto's realm, it's apparently drawn to evoke Dante's Inferno.
Oh, wow. Like the circles of hell.
Exactly. That kind of structured, layered hellscape. Not just fire and brimstone, but something more. Architecturally terrifying. It gives it this immediate mythological weight. It's smart visual storytelling.
That sounds incredible. And what about new character, Sister Sorrow? Her design.
Yeah, she definitely made an impression visually. Reviews mention her look specifically. Jet black attire, fiery red hair, and chalk white skin. Very striking.
So very gothic. Fits the theme?
It does. Makes her pop off the page. Gives her that instant memorable quality.
Bus. A sense of butt coming.
Well, yes. While the design got praise, a few critiques pointed out a potential weakness regarding Sister Sorrow herself.
Okay.
Her actual background, her motivations, they apparently remain cryptic. Felt a bit underdeveloped to some reviewers.
That's interesting, especially for a series that's supposed to be about diving into villain motivations.
Right. If a key player, even a secondary one, feels underdeveloped or just there to move the plot, it kind of undercuts that core promise a little. It raises that question.
Yeah.
Is a cool design enough if the substance isn't fully there?
That's a fair point. Okay, crunch time. The verdict. We've got the concept, the plot, the arts, the characters. How did Doom #1 actually land?
This is where it gets really interesting, actually. There's a pretty noticeable split.
Between who?
Between the critics and the general user ratings online. Critics overall seemed quite positive. Comic Book Roundup's aggregate score was a 9.2 out of 10. Pretty strong.
9.2 is solid, yeah.
High marks. But then you look at the user scores on sites like that, and it was hovering around a 6.0. Much more mixed.
Whoa, that's a big gap. 9.2 versus 6.0. What were the critics liking so much?
Well, AIPT, for instance, called it a solid foundation for a villain-based story. They saw the potential, liked the setup.
Okay, setting the stage.
And Nerd Initiative praised its juicy tale of ancient dark magic and noted a nostalgic tone, which probably connected with fans of that original 76 series we mentioned. So critics seem to appreciate the ambition, the tone, the setup.
Gotcha. But the users, a 6.0 suggests some folks weren't feeling it as much. What was the main complaint there?
One specific user review that got cited seemed to capture a common sentiment. It complained that Doom blabs on and on.
Okay, monologuing Doom is pretty standard.
True, but the more crucial point was that Doom apparently fails to retain one of those key daggers we talked about.
Oh, he loses one.
Seems so. And this failure directly allows Mephisto to strengthen the Soul Forge. So the criticism is that Doom, the super genius, makes a clumsy mistake that helps his main enemy.
It doesn't sound very Doom-like, does it? He's usually 10 steps ahead.
Exactly. And this raises an important question about writing these iconic characters. How do you balance Doom's legendary intellect and competence with, the basic need for the plot to actually happen?
Right. If Doom just won instantly, there'd be no story.
But if he makes what feels like an uncharacteristic mistake just to move the plot forward, does that undermine the character? That seems to be the tension here. Critics might see the bigger picture, the setup, the idea of Doom versus Mephisto.
While users are focused on, wait, would Doom actually do that?
Precisely. It highlights that gap between appreciating a concept and judging the moment-to-moment execution and character consistency. How much plot armor, or maybe plot-induced stupidity, can a character like Doom handle before he stops feeling like himself?
That makes sense why the scores would diverge like that. Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this all mean? Where does this leave us with bring on the bad guys? Doom #1.
Well, we've seen this exciting premise, right? A whole event focused on villains kicking off with Dr. Doom.
Yeah, starring Doom in this really complex, ego-driven fight against Mephisto over the Soul Forge. Super high stakes.
We talked about the art, that gothic, grand style evoking Dante.
Right, and the character stuff, like Sister Sorrow being visually cool, but maybe a bit underdeveloped.
And then that fascinating split in reception. Strong critical praise versus more skeptical user reviews, possibly hung up on how Doom himself was portrayed.
Yeah, that point about his actions maybe not feeling quite right for the character.
So here's a final thought to chew on, maybe. Considering Doom's whole deal, his genius, his arrogance, his history, how effectively can a story really portray him as the main protagonist, even an anti-heroic one, without sanding off the edges that make him Doom?
Can you make him the hero without making him less Doom?
Exactly. Is it possible that the very things that make villains like him so compelling, that massive ego, those deep flaws, maybe even that tendency towards self-sabotage we talked about, are also what make them fundamentally tricky to build an entire narrative around, especially if you're promising a deep dive into them?
Maybe the mixed reaction to Doom #1 is just the first sign of how tough that balancing act is going to be for the whole Bring on the Bad Guys series.
Could be. It's definitely something to watch as the other villains step up.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this deep dive has given you a great shortcut to being well informed on Doom #1 and sparked some thoughts.
Hope so.
Until next time, keep digging.